Hello, my fellow Star Warriors. Ooh, that's right. They always used to put that at the beginning of those Marvel comics, the Star Warriors, very 70s. But anyway, this is the Holocron Chronicles on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. This is episode 136. I am Charlie Carden, your Jedi guy here in West Michigan, joined by the other Jedi guy here in West Michigan, Peter Stein. Peter, good evening.
Good evening.
Man, oh man, we've had 2 weeks in a row where we're doing our weekend work during the week because we got travels, man. You were in New York last weekend for a wedding. April and I are leaving tomorrow to go to Long Island to participate in Trek Long Island, which we're super psyched about. And by the time this comes out, that will already have come and gone, and I'm sure we will have a wonderful time. There will be, for anybody who listens to this who does enjoy hearing about Star Trek, April and I will do, just like we've done with Star Trek Las Vegas and the cruise, we will do a special episode where we can talk about our experience. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Star Wars. And in the Star Wars world, moving beyond The Mandalorian and Grogu, which we were so psyched to have Mark back on. Mark, please, anytime, come back, spend some time with us. We're just glad in his busy schedule. I mean, you know, he's got a young one at home. He's got another one on the way. So he's a busy guy. So it's very, very glad to have him back on board. Yeah. But yeah, we are getting back to talking about MAUL Shadow Lord. We're going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8 and giving some perspective on that. But in the meantime, always I'd like to give some love and respect to the wonderful people over on our Secret Friends Unite Patreon at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, where you do, of course, get all of our shows early. So this show typically comes out on a Wednesday, and this will actually come out on a Saturday as opposed to a Sunday because we're recording it so early. So that much more early content, something to keep you busy listening during the weekend or on your Monday morning drive. We have great exclusive shows over there. My wife April and I do a great Bad Movies podcast, which is going monthly pretty soon here. And then Peter and I over on the Facts Geek Life are winding down talking about Ron Moore's Battlestar Galactica. Even as, you know, and for all the people that I'm sure that we have met, I'm projecting myself into the future, that I'm sure that we talked to at Trek Long Island who joined our Patreon. You can really join as a free member. Really, you can join for a free member for a week and still get all the content. But even if you just join as I'm going to be free, I just want to get emails that let me know what you guys put out. It's the one place to hear about all of our podcasts, to just get an email and hear what we're doing. And then if you want to join and listen to it, that's great. If you want to pop over to your podcast catcher of choice and listen over there, we would just love to have you on board. We would love to hear from you. We would love to have you kind of share the love of geek stuff and pop culture that we all dig. So again, as I'd mentioned, the first week is free. Your first month, half off, and then you stay on board for as little as $2 a month. We would just love to have you on, as I said, even as a free member. I think that would be super awesome. Patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. All right. No news to speak of unless I'm drawing a blank on anything, not even any comic or game news that I feel like is kind of passed.
No, there really isn't anything new Star Wars related with any of that I've seen.
Right.
And I try to keep on top of the games and such because I like my video games, and I haven't seen any.
I like the comics. I've not really revisited them. They don't have a regular series going right now, unfortunately. They're doing a lot of little miniseries, which is, you know, I'm not sure what that means for that comic franchise. I don't mean if it's going to go into hibernation again. I have no idea, because they had two really long-running series. They had one that went between A New Hope and Empire, which was about 75 issues. They had one that ran between Empire and Jedi timeframe that was, I think, 60 issues. And then they started one that took place after Jedi, which is something we had all waited for, and it petered out after 10 issues. Yeah, so it's really, it's kind of sad. So, you know, it makes me wonder in some ways if we're seeing a hibernation period coming up. I know that's what we're feeling about Star Trek with nothing being in production right now, but those comics still keep running. You know, they're still cranking out new ones. So anyway, not to dwell on that, because we want to talk about what we do have. And again, that would be MAUL Shadow Lord, which is available to you as we've been talking about over on Disney Plus. We're going to jump in. We're going to talk about episodes 7 and 8 of this 10-part series, which means we will be wrapping this up with our last episode. And Peter, I don't know about you, but this was my first time watching these. I had not studied up, but I watched these in order to just take notes and be prepared. So yeah, I was kind of I was kind of getting it, and it was funny. My first note on episode 7 was, after several weeks, thank God for the recap, to get me kind of caught up. But we'll find out the same rules as we usually do. We'll start with the episode breakdown, and then we'll run through and kind of do some notes. So might end up being a little bit shorter, but that's okay sometimes.
We said that last time, and we ran long. So
we did. Well, last time the time before last, we had 2 episodes, and then we previewed Mando and Grogu, and then we had So, and then we had Mark on to do the one. So, we'll see what happens. But I think our next episode will be longer, because we'll do the 2 episodes, and then we'll probably talk big picture.
Kind of look forward to season 2, because we know that's happening.
We do know that's happening, so that's something that we have. So, Star Wars on television looks like it's moving to just being animation, because Ahsoka is the last live action thing that
we know,
or that they've even broken the news about. So, all right, let's do it. Chapter 7 is The Call to Oblivion. Sounds great. Nathaniel Villanueva handling the writing. I always get these mixed up. Writing or directing. One is one of the each. I think the director is the second one. So the director is Julia Cooperman. MAUL leads Devin and Riley, that is the father and son duo, if you have also forgotten the way I might have, to his current hideout and plans to escape Janix on his starship. The Empire arrives and stormtroopers capture Riley. Yikes. Devin escapes during the fight and reunites with Daki and Lawson, who try to contact Two Boots about Riley. The droid is reluctant to abet the fugitives and does not answer. Leaves him on red. That's a weird little device they have too, because you just push a button and it goes to one person. So how do you I really need to call so and so? I don't really figure out the comm units.
These comm units are definitely a little bit more complex than the ones we're used to seeing, because the ones we're used to seeing are just like the military ones.
You just yell at it. It's like a big phone in Korea.
These are the civvy cell phone comms.
Right. The push to text, the old Nextel.
It's kind of like
the 2000s.
Like when you're watching Star Trek and you see the communicators, how does everyone else use these? This is the equivalent. It's got more buttons, so you can phone home or phone your buddies.
These buttons do stuff.
Yeah, or you need to call Best Buy or not Best Buy, Best Bantha. So
Best Bantha. MAUL duels Merrick and a second Inquisitor, the 11th brother. I feel like we didn't get a name, but he's got the big.
We've seen him before.
The big Texas skull. I don't know what are they the big we've seen him before. Okay, the Longhorn. There you go.
Yeah, once we get through, I'll tell you who he is.
Okay, thank you very much. While some of his Mandalorian mercenaries attempt to flee in the starship, they are shot down by Imperial gunships. That was pretty sweet. Struggling with his damaged leg, because Maul's leg gets damaged, and I mentioned that in his fight with the 2 Inquisitors. Maul feigns surrender before collapsing the cavern roof. Oh, sorry. Forcing the Inquisitors to retreat. Yeah. Man, this was just set piece heaven. Yeah. A lot of stuff going on. All right, walk me through it. Tell me your thoughts.
Okay, just quick note. The 11th brother is the Inquisitor that we saw in Tales of the Jedi, the second part about Ahsoka, where she fights the Inquisitor on the one.
Oh, yeah. And he doesn't make it out of that one.
No, he dies kind of like Merrick,
Yeah, the Fartian.
Yeah.
Fart gas guy, which is always
he's not green, but he does.
Yeah, right.
If I recall, he kind of deflates.
It ain't easy being green. All right, so talk to me about the episode.
Yeah, so this one starts out. We get kind of a continuation of Maul kind of seducing Devin to the dark side in his hideout again. After they got back from the train,
right?
And so now it's. Now the Mandalorians are like, hey, this is getting a little hot. Let's get out of here. We do have other things going on other planets. There's no point staying here.
Right.
Which that makes sense. Get out of here.
Right.
We already went and told the Pikes to sit down, shut up, and follow my lead. And so we can go.
Or we'll
do
make
that.
Fish sticks out of you.
Exactly. But this doesn't work out so well, and while they're all trying to escape, Riley gets captured. It's a pretty cool scene because there's all these different bridges and this big canyon and all of this.
But in the end of it, Riley satisfies his role as any kid in something, which is to get kidnapped.
Yes, he sits by a box, and then the stormtrooper's like, "Hey, who are you?" And then they take it.
Let me see your scan docs. Isn't that what they always say?
Yeah.
I have a note in here, and this is what I've thusly dubbed the episode. We get a couple of cliches out of MAUL. Come with me if you want to live. So manipulative.
Yep.
But then he literally gives I have a van down by the river line. I have a ship and can get you off world now, right? Is there candy in it as well?
He does. It is almost exactly down by the river, which is funny.
Which is exactly why this episode is called Strangers with Candy in a Van Down by the River. His name, Matt Foley. I am 36 years old. I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
We're down by the windowless white Mando van.
Right, the Mando van. Oh, my God. Oh.
Yeah, but so they get down, and so he gets captured. He goes back to the precinct where Two Boots is, doing his normal futzing about. Where he's at this point, we also get what's his face, the lieutenant who's just a
Balake.
Yeah, Balake. Yeah, Lieutenant. So we get Lieutenant Peach Fuzz.
Right, trying to grow a mustache.
Yeah, it's rough. It tracks. It makes sense, but it's like, oh man. You are not like, this is a far cry from the Rebels animation where it's just like you can't see their eyes and they're just very like,
oh my God,
like very singular jaw, like tough Imperial. This guy is like barely out of puberty, like
Johnny Pipsqueak,
like yeah.
He's like
ROTC, man.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in charge of stuff.
Yeah, so he tells Two Boots to lose the boots because they're not in regulation. Which
wrong.
Oh no. And so that makes, of course,
don't worry, that'll come back around in the next episode.
Yeah, so Two Boots is like, I don't like that. But anyway, we go back to during this point, we do have the 11th brother does land and meet with Merrick, and so there's the big reveal of like, oh, this is a Inquisitor that we've seen before, which, while neat, does also tell me he not gonna die. Mm-hmm. So it kind of lessens the stakes. Which to be fair is like, it works, but when you have these big things tied all together, it's sometimes it's like, now I know no one's gonna get hurt.
And I really wanted to see someone get hurt.
Well, when you're doing a war, it feels like, and to be fair, they do this a little bit shortly after this because the Inquisitors start attacking everybody. They're chasing Maul. He jumps in the cave,
right?
And then Rook Cast and some of the other Mandos are holding fire. But then some of them break ranks. They're like, oh, screw this. We're just gonna bounce and get out of here. And so they hop on the drop ship, and then they get blowed up because that's what happens when you abandon your leader. You get blowed up. So people do get blown up and die in here, but it's
just nobody that you could ever care about.
But it's like, oh look, it's a Mando who we kind of telegraphed was a shithead earlier in the episode because he wanted to take treasure, and it was like, we don't have space, and he's like, yam. And so like,
right.
So it's like, it was kind of teeing up of like, okay, this guy's a douche, he's gonna die. But to be fair, they did blow people up. They did put some stakes in here. They did damage Maul, like they damaged his leg. So they did show that like the Inquisitors are, at least somewhat dangerous, even though in Rebels, like Maul is able to kind of kick their butts. So it's a little interesting, but they did damage his leg earlier in the season to try to explain, like, okay,
fortunately he's got some Bondo and some W4. You're gonna fix that, because
he's been fixing his leg a couple times during the season.
Yeah, well, you'd have to, it's a part. He'd have to. I'm sure he has to swap it out every once in a while. A little bit. Yeah,
but I mean, originally it was put together by like Force magic, so.
You'd think that would make it more reliable.
The Dark Sisters magic. Night Sisters. My bad. Sorry, don't come and murder me in the back.
Like from Star Wars or from Spider-Man.
Yeah. But anyway, so he gets damaged, and then we have a thing that Maul doesn't do a lot, where he kind of pretends that he's hurt. to try to get them to lower their guard and then drops the ceiling on them.
They'll do like what is that? Get help from Thor?
Yeah, it's kind of a get help, but it's like
get help.
It's kind of like, oh no, have mercy, have mercy. Well, we'll see what happens when our boss gets here. Crush.
He does the full Dr. Smith. Oh, the pain of it all.
Yeah,
I absolutely love and totally. I was telling April this before I came down. Hate Dennis Haysbert in this role because he just that voice. Dennis Haysbert.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean that President Palmer from 24 and the Allstate guy. It's tough, especially when he's supposed to be the diminutive badass, Yoda. Like he doesn't have you almost want him to have a funny voice, and it just doesn't. I don't know, but maybe that's more of a departure to try to stretch the bounds.
He has a deep, intimidating voice, and he's small. I mean, it's a good. To be fair, it's a nice twist because usually you have like that's Yoda has a goofy voice, kind of, and then like a lot
Yaddle
of Yaddle
talks totally normally.
Yaddle talks normal because you can't make Bryce Howard sound weird.
Yeah,
but then like the shorter aliens like Rats Terrell, and then what's his name? The guy who is the same species. He's in this show. His name is escaping me. The other criminal dude.
Oh, I had a note about him too, the little purple guy.
Yeah, so he kind of has that New Yorker accent, sort of mob boss thing. Yeah,
I was trying to figure out why he's lugging around a crate as big as he is at one point. It's like if you're the mob boss, why are you moving around cargo?
Well, he's been kind of like he has been demoted. Basically, he was a mob boss, and now he's just kind of MAUL's patsy because
I guess
he's just like he got pwned and he can't do anything
if he doesn't end up stepping on MAUL. I wrote MAUL's over talking and I quoted the line, "My patience with your vacillations wears thin," is kind of a far cry from when he used to say nothing, and that was really cool and scary. So I'm like, sometimes less is more, MAUL.
There is kind of something interesting about that I have noticed in this show. It was in Rebels too, to an extent, where like MAUL has kind of evolved from just like this silent, brooding, well, not brooding even, but just like the silent evil dude who's just going to come, silent evil assassin.
You mean like Boba Fett?
Yeah,
and Boba Fett got a show, and it was terrible because he did too much stuff.
Even more so than that, because like Boba Fett is still kind of a mercenary and all of that,
right?
But like MAUL has now kind of evolved to be like this sort of almost suave gentleman in a kind of a weird way, because he's doing tea and all these things.
He's kind of like Dracula, don't you think?
Almost, yeah.
The way he's being very seductive to Devin.
The classic Dracula, the suave lord.
Yeah,
so it's kind of interesting that they're doing that. I get it. I'm not 100% sure it tracks for me, but it's an interesting take. It's kind of cool to see how Sam Witwer does with it, but it is interesting how MAUL's diction has gotten more and more complex as the character has existed. Because obviously in episode 1 he says next to nothing, and then
and he's dubbed as actor Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah, and he's a completely different actor.
At last we shall have revenge. He has 2 lines in that film.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything else. He doesn't even scream when he gets cut in half. He just goes, ugh.
Yeah. So then when we get him in Clone Wars, he has some more sophisticated diction, and then when we see him again in Rebels, he's a lot more sophisticated, because he kind of he's kind of like that oily, get in there and kind of convince you sort of.
Right. What do I got to do to get you in this dark side pack today?
Exactly. It's very much that. And so it's it's interesting to see how at each iteration of MAUL, we have him get more suave, more complex.
Right.
In terms of how he's speaking, not necessarily in how he's portrayed, if that makes sense. Because there's still, like I said in our previous episode, there's not a lot of exploration of the character. Now in the next episode there is, but it's not super deep.
Right. True.
So there's not a ton of exploration of the character, so it doesn't always explain like some of the changes in how he is.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could say that some of it is just from him being in charge of a whole group of people like Death Watch, and since there are a lot of hoity-toities running Death Watch, then it kind of rubbed off, and so he took some of that upper class thing, because the hoity-toity Mandalorians are very much into that sort of thing. So that could be the justification. Fine,
right?
But it's just something interesting.
Indeed.
That was a really long tangent with
Yeah, that's all right. Speaking of hoity-toity Mandos, Rook is the head Mando, and I did like at one point she was having this kind of come to Jesus talk with Maul about him pursuing the young Jedi, and then she kind of tilts into this. Well, it's her, or it's me. Like it's the very girlfriend, like bad girlfriend ultimatum, and I'm like, real.
Yeah,
that was kind of.
I mean, it's that there is kind of a feeling of that, but it's also I'm the second in command, but I know that if you get an apprentice, I'm going to play second fiddle to that person, and I'm not okay with that because I don't like this person.
Well, at least not a sex thing, because we know that Maul does not have genitals,
as far as we know. So
it's not going to be like that. I thought it was really cool. So yeah, and I labeled it set piece-orama when Maul is fighting the two Inquisitors, but they're doing all of jumps and shit. So when they jump from the edge of the platform across this little chasm, and it's a waterfall, but just a little opening, their sabers make the water like spark and sizzle.
That was pretty sweet. There were some really cool decisions with the lightsabers in this show, where the lightsabers feel a little bit more real, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and that's a great point, because one of the other is most people, are they the Zabrak?
Yeah, the Zabrak. Yep.
Yeah, it's a Zabrak. One of them gets the Qui-Gon treatment and actually dies. So it's like lightsabers are dangerous again, because they weren't dangerous in Ahsoka, because Sabine took one and she was like, "Well, we'll rub a thing over you."
She took one to the kidney, and you're going to be fine tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly. We'll grow you a new kidney. But yeah, when you get stabbed, but Qui-Gon took a somewhat similar injury, and
his was like center mass, like right in the diaphragm.
Well,
so
I guess, and if he got stabbed through the spinal cord, then
he was stabbed through the spinal column. So
I guess that's kind of a big deal. But I wrote, gets the Qui-Gon treatment, # ironic, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the other one, doesn't the other one also die? I think they both get murdered.
Well, yeah, because he ends up alone at the end when he brings the rocks down, but then he ends up trapping himself in the rocks, I think.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. And then that's how we wrap into
Vario, that's the name of that guy.
What was his name?
The little mob boss, his name is Vario.
Oh, yeah. His name is Mario?
Vario with a V.
I'm a Mario.
I'm gonna bring all of the stuff, and I'm gonna shoot you. Yeah, okay.
I got the box too big. So anyway, I enjoyed the set pieces. The kid getting kidnapped, who were predictable. Two Boots was fun. I like Two Boots. He's a likable character. You have to have a likable droid character in any Star Wars.
Everyone's got to have likable. I mean, to be fair, most of the droid characters they've introduced in the newer stuff have been pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Chopper. Well,
K2.
K2. I was going to say the lightsaber droid whose name is escaping me for some reason.
Huang.
But he was brought in Clone Wars, so he doesn't exactly
count.
Right.
Right. All right, Chapter 8. Unless you have any other thoughts.
Nope.
But number 7. Okay.
Nope.
Chapter 8, the creeping fear.
Ooh.
Sounds like something you got to blast off the side of your house, like the creeping. What are those vines that like
creeping vines? Yeah,
creeping vines. You see going up the side of somebody's chimney. Saula Ruiz handling the directing or scripting. I got to leave the header on that because I never got
Ruiz is directing and Jennifer Corbett's writing.
There you go. My God. Cass leads Maul's remaining followers and Vario to a rendezvous point. Maul continues to struggle with his leg and experiences hallucinations of the past. So it's that kind of episode, which is, including his brutal training by the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, proof that guys like him come from kids who don't get hugged enough by their dad, who is now the Emperor and killed Maul's actual brother, Savage Opress. Two Boots decides to free Riley, and the pair join Lawson Devon and Daki outside the precinct. They go to meet with Soul, who's Pamela Adlin's character, who has a ship, but the Jedi sense that this is a trap. It's a trap. Soul is being held at gunpoint by Balake and the Inquisitors. The group turns back before they are caught, and Sewell blows up the ship and herself and Balake beside it. Maul reunites with his followers. Aw. So do we lose Balake?
It's
Or do we just lose Family
unclear
Adlon? Okay.
because they're blown up standing next to it. People have survived getting blown up next to ships. But that being said, Corday died getting blown up next to a ship in episode 2. So,
Ow. And then Padme died of a broken heart. Really, either almost anything in Star Wars can kill you or you'll just be fine.
yeah, it's kind of a
That's
six
pretty
and,
much-
6 and 1/2 dozen the other. It could be fine for you and not like you could have an X-Wing land on you and be fine, and I could have like R2 pop out and land on my head and I die instantly. It just really
brain bleed.
Yeah.
You got the brain bleed. So, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So poor Maul, he's having the gimpy leg. He's all snap, crackle, pop. That's just what it's like being in your 50s. So I don't know how old he is at this point, but that's pretty much what most people my age deal with every day,
I mean,
no matter what.
He's getting close to 50 at this point.
He would have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he never really. I mean, I guess they don't really dig into it, but I mean,
They don't really tell you how old he is in episode 1.
yeah, because
because we-
Obi-Wan is, in his 30s at this point, and so he's in his 40s when we meet him. Is he in his 40s or 50s when he's at the end of his life?
He's
aged like super
he's
hard.
like 50 something in A New Hope.
He aged like super hard. But I mean, with the beard I've got
Tatooine
now,
stress
I can
and Krat
start doing
dragons.
Obi-Wan.
He just
maybe that'll be my next Star Wars cosplay. It'll be a
Ooh,
nice easy one.
Alec Guinness Obi-Wan. Hello there.
Blah blah blah, different path than me. But anyway, so like we said, he reached out to Pamela Adlon. She's like, I got 2 hours. Meet me here, and I'll get you off world. And so it sounds like, all right, well, we got to rescue the kid, and then we'll get to an escape ship. And we haven't yet figured out that it's totally a setup, or maybe it's not a setup at the beginning. But they
do
catch
have
her.
a suspicion that it's a setup halfway through.
Right.
And they're like, oh, and so then they sneak up top to double check, and then they, see the Imperials.
Right. And then, poor Two Boots, he's kind of the last horse to cross the finish line. He's realizing that in his binary ones and zeros that things are a little bit more -1 because the Empire is bad and they're killing people. He didn't even know that their precinct captain, which happened a couple of episodes ago, that they were like, hey, let's go talk to you in this room. Pew, pew. And they killed her right away. So he's like, oh, that can't be right. She got suspended or something, right? He's like,
no, she's dead.
Well, the other cop's like, no, she's dead. Like, bro, come on.
My plan to get the Empire here has gone perfectly.
And
Richard Ayoade does fantastic.
Well, you almost that was not bad. Yeah, and I just like I said, I go back to how much I loved him in the IT Crowd.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Which is a show I'm probably due to watch again. So it was really hard to find, and I don't even know where I finally tracked it down, like that hoopla from the library where you can rent things. Mm-hmm. But I should check Just Watch and figure out where it's at, because that's definitely worth it.
It's a great show.
Definitely worth owning. I should just buy it if I can find it. But I think the last time I couldn't purchase it, so I had to watch somewhere. But so yes, Lawson is trying to convince Two Boots, and again they're talking over the comm, and he's like, "Oh, Two Boots, this is about doing the right thing," and I'm like, "Droids don't really do the right thing. It's all ones and zeros."
Well, in Star Wars, it kind of depends. Some of them do, and some of them don't. So it's kind of that 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. Some droids are able to make moral decisions, and others are not. Like R2-D2 clearly does. C-3PO clearly does. K2SO does most of the time.
Right.
but then Gonk droids don't, except for like the one in Bad Batch clearly has a mind. Yeah. And then it's mouse droids don't, except when they do, and it's just
it just almost seems like Two Boots is the only speaking one that we've run into that's very I am a robot, beep bop borp, and I can only do my ones and zeros.
He very much seems like he's the only sentient
it's weird
droid on the Force, which is an interesting. I mean, to be fair, it's the same way with stormtroopers in Star Wars, where it's some of them talk, most of them don't. And so we don't know anything about
and the ones that talks are like, let me see your scan docs. Stand over there.
Or there's my favorite example in Rebels. First time fighting a Jedi, sir? Kick. Ah.
Yeah. So yes, as we mentioned previously, this is kind of the Vietnam flashback episode for Maul because he's having
Very
issues
much
and
so,
shit.
yeah.
And he's like, I got tortured by Palpatine, and I thought he loved me, but then he, when I got cut in half, he just moved on.
It was very much the classic childhood trauma dump episode.
Yeah. Which is, I wrote every show gets one, but I'm like,
Not every show needs one.
Is it really necessary for a cartoon like this? I mean,
for this one particularly, with what they're trying to do, it depends honestly on what they're planning to do with Maul. Because I know that I've been complaining a little bit about how they haven't been really developing Maul as a character in this show as much, and this is like the first major time that we do something with him about like what's going on in his head.
Right.
And so we get kind of like this early sign of like him starting to go a little nuts, like because we see that a little bit later in Rebels, where he's kind of gone off the deep end a little bit.
Yeah,
it's kind of him kind of reverting to his spider way when we first meet him in Clone Wars, where he was absolutely off his rocker.
Right.
So it's interesting to see like him look through, like have like that kind of panic because he's seeing Inquisitors, which is reminding him of Darth Sidious, and his last experience with Darth Sidious was really horrific. Where
that end of Clone Wars, that last
where like Savage gets killed, and then we just have a wipe away where Sidious is just beating his ass, like
he just has him up against the wall, and he's like, ha ha ha.
So we really don't know how that ended. We know it was really bad, but we know that it ended with Sidious leaving Maul on Mandalore and then Ahsoka goes there and all that happens. But it's not clear what Sidious's ultimatum was.
As they say in pitch meeting, unclear.
Yeah. And so that may be something that we find out probably next season.
Yeah.
But it is interesting how seeing the Inquisitors kind of brings this back to him. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next two episodes, because spoiler, we do know a little bit about what happens. I haven't watched it on purpose, but like we know a little bit, and so it'll be interesting to see what Maul's mental state is at that point, particularly with that character.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how we kind of bring in. We're trying to like make the audience sympathize with Maul a lot more. Like, oh, here's the little boy who was like taken from his family, which we got an idea of in the Clone Wars when Savage showed up, and we know that they were close. So he's taken, and then it's like, Master, I can't do it. Zap. Sidious is brutal. We know this.
I'm gonna lock you in a closet with a bag of bugs or something.
That was kind of that idea.
Yeah.
And so it's there's something to it. With how they're doing it, but it is interesting how we're leaning into the painting Maul as the traumatized child victim in this situation, which isn't wrong exactly, but it's just an interesting fact that that's what we're doing now, since Maul has been such a big badass villain. And what I guess I'm trying to say is I have mixed feelings about that choice.
I get it.
Because there's on one hand, it's really interesting when you do make nuanced backstories to characters, so that like why they made those decisions and and all of that. And there is kind of a concerted effort to make Maul a little bit more anti-hero-ish sympathetic. Which is interesting. But there's also I want to be careful how I say this, but there's also kind of there's a trend where it's really easy to just be like bad guy because trauma as child, and that's yes, but at a certain point it is also a little bit simplistic. It's just one of those like I get it, but also I'm not sold on it. It's not terrible. I'm not saying like, oh, this shouldn't have never been done. That's not what I'm saying. But it's one of those like, did we need to go that way? Because we knew that Sidious was a jerk face. Like that's not new.
Yeah,
but
you're not going to really break fresh ground on that
like
one.
going like full on abusive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because only because like I know I talk about like Palpatine being like the personification of evil, and that is evil, but also like
Right.
evil also has the side of being like sweet and pulling you in and all of that sort of thing, like what he was doing with Anakin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's one of those like,
yeah, right.
Palpatine has both of those sides, and so it was just interesting. It's like this is the only thing, and maybe that's just the only thing that Maul is remembering, and there's a lot more, and that's fine.
Right.
But it was just
right. That's a good point.
I don't know. It was interesting. It was an interesting choice. So I like it and I don't. But
yes,
it's kind of
that was an even longer tangent.
I know. Well, I mean, it was story and character based, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, yes, he goes through all this trauma. My fear is he going to go through all this and come out totally different and be some kind of noble character on the other side? I really hope not.
I don't. He can't.
Yeah.
In part because of, firstly, the title.
Right. Right. The title doesn't really feel like it really.
The title hasn't really tracked with what we're doing yet. Like us, other than the first couple bits where like he goes and beats up the Pikes and destroys Vario's group and the other dude.
He's being shadowy.
Yeah. So like we had some of that, but other than that, he's not really doing any shadowy stuff. I think in the next 2 episodes we might hear a little bit about Crimson Dawn.
Right.
I heard that. What's his face comes back.
Yeah. Paul Bettany's character.
Paul Bettany doesn't come back, but his character does.
Well, sure. Oh, gotcha. I'm like, but he is his character. Okay, but now I understand.
Yeah, his visage does, but not the voice.
Got it.
And so I think we're going to see a little bit more of that next, and I think we're going to lean into a lot more of that in the next season because we're going to have whatever happens with Devin happen in the next 2 episodes and da-da-da. But
so I wrote two boots redemption just in time to get killed. He doesn't get killed by the end of the episode, does he?
No, he's still alive. He still might get murked at the end, but I don't think so. In part because the way that these shows kind of work, these kinds of shows work, is we introduce the cast and then crap happens, and then they kind of are. Then there are kind of point of view characters for the rest of the show. So I would imagine that like. We're going to have Lawson and Riley and Devin.
Right.
For whatever reason, they're going to, and Two Boots, they're going to get dragged along with Maul to wherever he's going for season 2. That's my guess. Right. I don't know. I haven't seen the finale yet, but I think that's what's probably going to happen.
They're going to be a whole traveling caravan. I do like how I wrote Little Girl Jedi, which is not because of Devin. I couldn't remember her name. How she does, she comes in and saves the day. She's got a sassy soundtrack, which I enjoy. Yeah. But I also kind of enjoyed her beating up the Grease Monkeys. That was kind of fun, too. So I like that. But, the whole their rendezvous is going to go sideways. We kind of saw that coming. But they do figure it out when they're in the elevator on the way, but they couldn't turn it off. But then they do the very classic, the elevator door opens up and all the TKs move in and there's a hole cut in the ground. And then they jump down and there's a bunch of explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
it's got some really cool visuals and stuff that they do.
Yeah. As we described, it looks like Pamela Adlin's character sacrifices herself. We don't know if Balake is alive, but he gets caught in the blast. So,
but again, it's Star Wars. Somehow Balake could return. Who knows?
But somehow Balake has returned. The little purple guy whose name you said
Vario.
Mario. We'll just call him Mario. Once they're all back at Maul's hideout, whatever, he's like, things are looking up. I'm like, well, how are things looking up?
You're alive. Sure.
Yeah. I'm alive, and so are you. I think overall, because I'm going to, kind of put my stamp on the block. This was, I think we started like a 4 or 5. We're up to about a 6.5.
Yeah.
I would say for these 2 episodes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Enjoyed some the fight scenes, the big set pieces were in episode 7 were great. Mm-hmm. The Vietnam flashbacks in episode 8 are really tiresome. I get sick of it. It's just such a trope to lean on. But I'm like you, trying to figure out where they're going to find their footing with Maul. Where is it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Where's the it?
Yeah. Where's the Shadow Lord in the Shadow Lord?
Yes. Where's the Shadow Lord in the Shadow Lord? What about you? Where do you land?
Probably somewhere similar, like 6.5. because like I really did like what they were doing with showing like the loyalty conflict with Two Boots and the Mandos. Like I liked like the juxtaposition there. That was well done. Obviously the set pieces and blowing up the ship and all of that. That was really cool. Inquisitors are still kind of for me. At least right now.
Yeah, they just don't seem to fit in the grand scheme of there can only be two, and we're bending the rules, and they're Sithy, but they're not really.
I think part of it is just like we can't. It's hard because we're not able to show that they're dangerous.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's assumed, and it's like sure, but like Rebels had them take people out and destroy things, and so we knew that they were actually like a threat. Whereas here, it's like,
maybe.
So it's just so they're there, but they're not doing like a whole lot. I mean, they're still animated well, and they do all that, and so it'll be interesting to see, especially in the next two episodes, what they do to interact, how they help help trying to capture MAUL, or if they are part of that or not. So there's that. The Two Boots redemption, quote unquote.
Two Boots of Redemption. Redhead Two Boots Redemption.
Yeah, Two Boots Redemption.
Could have been another name of the episode. Two Boots Redemption.
Yeah. Yellow Boots Redemption too. But I mean, you kind of knew that was coming. But I did like that they did it, and the shootout as they escaped was, hilarious. Where it's like, I'm trying to sit here and convince you. Don't worry, he's already on our side. We're good. Oh,
yeah, right.
I was expecting to have to argue with you. No, let's go. Like that was funny. That was well done. So there's a lot of stuff that's really, really well done in this bunch. It's just that I like we've kind of talked about. I do have to kind of knock it down just a bit for one, the threat of the Inquisitors just not feeling as dangerous, and for still not really knowing what they're trying to do with MAUL. Maybe it'll all make sense in the last two episodes. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. But it's one of those, like, I'm just not sure what you're getting at. And and the fact of like, why is MAUL the way he is because of childhood trauma is just kind of, it's a trope that I see a lot right now. And I'm just, maybe it is a little unique with this particular thing of Star Wars, but it's like I've seen it around so much that it feels just a little bit like lazy writing. So at least for me, it kind of bumps it down a little bit. So
fair.
That doesn't mean it's a terrible decision. It's just I see it everywhere, so it just kind of feels like
yeah. It's a whole lot of meh. All right. Well, we will then launch into our next episode and wrapping this up. I may go around the horn, try to find somebody to join us. I feel like we haven't had a guest on the show in a while. Yeah. It's weird because I just don't hear anybody buzzing about the show. And maybe it's because, you and I did the slow burn with this and, because of the nature of our show, because we're out every other week, we didn't just slam them all into one.
Yeah. But I think it would have been a disservice if we blasted through the entire show.
That was the original plan. But with Mando coming out, I wanted to give that breathing room.
Yeah.
And so that's why. So I might do some asking around between now and the next time we record and see if there was someone, just even someone else who watched the show. I didn't necessarily that they liked it or hated it, but just that they watched it.
Yeah, you watched it and have opinions.
Yeah, I want you to watch it and have an opinion. But with that, that's our show. And I was right. This is a shorter one.
Yep.
I can't believe it.
Wow.
But Peter, where do people find you out there if they want to talk about Star Wars or anything at all?
All right. So if you want to find me, I am around the interwebs at Petrus Aquinas on most social platforms. I'm not terribly active, but if you poke at me, I might say something. If you want to say, hey, MAUL having trauma background, good, you dumb, maybe I'll respond. I don't know. Feel free.
Do it.
You can also find me on our Discord, which is probably the safer place to call me dumb, but you can do it in public too. I don't care.
Why not?
But on the Secret Friends Unite Discord, you can also find me on ELH's Twitch, YouTube, and Discord, where we do role-playing games, primarily Star Trek. And then you can also find me behind the scenes on Starship Excelsior.
Excellent. Well, I am responsible for the Secret Friends Unite socials. We're on all the platforms except X and TikTok. Don't really mess around with those. And myself personally, I am at the C3THECEETHREE. You can find me there and abouts. You can also find me on our YouTube channel. And I'm finally at least trying to get out twice a week and do my little kitchen chats. I did the one today in my office. I talked about it was New Comic Book Day, so I picked up a new comic I was excited about. But in 3 minutes or less, I just jump in and share with you something that I'm enjoying. So you can find those on all of those socials and on our YouTube channel. YouTube channel is also the exclusive home to the videos of our Spotlight segment, which is where we talk to different creators and celebrities. We've had some really exciting ones recently. We've got some really big ones coming up. But as always, we would love to hear from you. secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. If you'd like to type an email as they did in the olden days, we'd love to hear from you, hear what you enjoyed, not only in the Star Wars world, but absolutely in anything at all. And we will feature that on one of our upcoming programs, most likely. But as always, the absolute best way to see everything that we put out, even if you just kind of use it as a roadmap, is our Patreon at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join up as a free member, just as a way to keep track of us, or try us out for 7 days for free. And if you like what we have to offer, stick around. We'd absolutely love to have you. But with that, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. I'm going to let you know, of course, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
May the force be with you.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.